Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's not been too long since I put the last one out. I'm carrying on the theme of the columns from last video. Just some small terrain, just some stuff that I kick out quite quick. Still using a few bits and pieces that I've designed that are available via Rock Minis. Again, a mate of mine, so yeah, I'm going to plug him a bit, I'm afraid, because I designed the bits and he puts them out there and sells them. So today's video is all about how I made my mini crypt or mausoleum. As you can see, I've got a tea light candle in there as well, and that's the bottom, just a round hole in. So yeah, it's just about how I've gone about making this, using the shingles as the product today. I designed these for that thing, which I'll be doing a painting video of. As I mentioned, it'll probably be next year now. I'm going to concentrate on a few more smaller projects to try and get some more videos out for the rest of the year. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with how this has come out. The colours don't match exactly, but the bases sure do, and the grass tufts and everything tie everything together. So I am very, very pleased with this. So this was an experiment. I wasn't sure what I was going to build when I started, so you'll find out in a second when I cut to the actual video. I'm going to narrate over it again, and you'll see that I just pull a load of stuff out of my drawer and just go ham on it, because Rich gave me a load of shingles that he'd cut, and I was like, oh, quite like the look of those, so we'll go from there. So I hope you like the video. As always, please like, share, subscribe as much as you possibly can. We're over 1,500 subscribers now, which is absolutely fantastic. If we can get to 2,000, that'd be even better, but we'll see how it goes. A lot of people have asked me what that is, and that is my Iron Man suit gantry made out of Lego. So yes, I'll probably do a video on that another time. But yeah, I'll get straight to the video. Cheers. Right, here we go. Bunch of stuff just pulled out from the drawer. First thing up, these are nail art beads, or card beads, or paper art beads. They're from Hobbycraft. This is one of those cheap tea light candles you get everywhere at Christmas time and Halloween, for £1 in the pound shop. They come with the batteries as well, which is great. These are 4 of the windows I designed for the inn. They're available from Rock Minis, link in below. This is my 15 by 5 mil brick. That's the 5 by 10 brick. This is a 5 by 5 by 5 brick. And this is a 3 by 3 by 3 brick. Those other two are cobblestones from previous projects. The foam I mill up usually is 50 mil high by about 5 mil thick, and I do those in long sheets when I've got it available. I'm using the plinth for the column jig from last week. I've got a bit of walnut strip there and some balsa wood strips as well. And this is, what's that? Oh, that's more balsa wood strips as well, just some random bits in the thing. And this is the strip of shingles that Rich sent me over to have a test of. This is a new card he's using. It's super durable, really bendy, but it's also quite thick, so it brings up the dry brushing quite nicely. I'll only be using 1 sheet for this project, and you get 3 in the set. I decanted my Bostik interior wood glue into those containers there, and I'll be using my Bosch cordless glue gun, and that's my super glue I use of choice, and that's from Toolstation. Not paid for any of this, guys, so I'm just telling you what I use. And these are indispensable, my 1, 2, 3 blocks, or engineering blocks. If you haven't got any in your remodeler, get some. You'll find many uses for them, they're so good. So what I started off with was making a basic block. So I cut some sheets down to size, stuck them together, opened the top and the back, and then I put the column plinths on the bottom, cut them to size. So I cut the sides off 1 basically, and then to get the indentation of the windows, I turn them over and push them ever so slightly onto the foam, and it gives a lovely indentation. And then I score that a few times with a fresh hobby blade, and take my time and go around the edges. Take your time with this step, there's no need to rush. You're going to be covering, well, I was covering it with bricks anyway, but the closer you can get to the actual shape, the easier it will be to fit. So I'll just go through this and cut a bit more. you'll see how long this is actually how long it takes me to do one, so I'm not going to show you all four, I'm just going to show you one. It doesn't take very long at all, but be careful because you've probably got your fingers on the back of this and that's a sharp poppy blade. I didn't cut myself, but you may, so just be careful. Not saying I haven't cut myself before, because I have, because I am an idiot. There we go, cutting down the bottom. It'll become a bit more loose as you go all the way through. And a sharp blade will help you go through the foam with no problem at all. It won't rip and tear. A blunt blade will rip and tear. There we go, there's one. Push it nice and firmly in. You may find you need to trim a little bit off, but there we go. There will be 4 on here, 2 on each side. So here I am making the roof trusses. So just basically measure across the whole width and then do it in half and then measure it down. So here's a messy desk. I've added the front and added a hole for the tea light candle. It's literally a case of drawing around the tea light candle and then cutting a hole in the bottom to make sure it fits, which is all I've done. And added a front on, which I'll be sticking a door to shortly. I'm using a tea light candle because I cannot do electronics to save my life. I'm rubbish at it. So I will probably be looking at some tutorials and the wonderful page that is Terraintronics soon, and probably be purchasing some of his products to use in some of my terrain. Now, to get a deep dark look inside this Crypt or Mausoleum, I'm going to be putting the roof on before I paint it, so I thought I'd paint the insides with my Mod Podge and black mix to start with. That will help the light reflect and will keep it nice and dark so you can't see too much in it. I did intend to put tracing paper over these windows and the inside and coat them a little bit, but alas, I could not find any. So this is something that's not included in the build. I just included it to show that I also can do silly ideas. I wanted to do a rounded step on this, but I decided against it in the end, so you'll see me rip that off. There we go. So I've based the whole thing on some foam board pieces, and I put some 32 by 32 mil squares on there again to tie it in with the column bases to make the stairs leading up. The door is simply 5 mil by 5 mil strips of 3 mil balsa scored and cut, and using nail art beads for the wooden nails and a bit of walnut strip from a hobby ship kit I got once. Never made it, but I kept all the wood and that just stuck straight on. So the foam X board is exactly the same stuff you saw me use in the column video as well. Now I see I cut a little hole in the bottom here so that the door can be recessed up a bit. And if you block the windows from if you block the light from the windows, you could attempt to see a bit of light shining through from the tea light. I haven't yet managed to do that, but I might have to change the tea light for a whiter or a brighter bulb because this one is a flickering one. Anyway, here we are. I'm doing the arch stones on the door. I neglected to add a keystone in the top of the door here, unfortunately. I wish I had done it, would have tied it in with the windows nicer, but alas I did not. All I do is I put normal bricks on the sides, and as I get to the arch piece I get a standard brick and I just squeeze the edges ever so slightly. Gives you a nice rounded shape. Here you can see these are 3 mil by 3 mil by 3 mil blocks. They even need a little tiny squish every now and again. And then right at the top as a keystone I use a 5 mil by 5 mil by 5 mil block, and again squish it in place, and I think it looks really effective. Once I've got all 4 of those done, I will be adding the bricks in. Now I'm not using my usual 15 by 10 mil large bricks here because it's such a small building. I don't think it calls for it. There's plenty of detail in the 5 by 10 and the 5 by 15 bricks. I'm doing them all lengthways as well. Some of my older buildings I've done them vertical as well, and I kind of regret it a little bit because that's not how they would be placed. So as you get to the top of the eaves, I did some twisty side ones, so you get a little a port through the top there, and I go over the edges so you can just slice down them once they're dry with your craft knife. As you can see, there's a nice view of the keystones there on the top, and the windows go all the way through. I do add a lock on the door to make it a bit more realistic later on. We'll be leading to the roof shortly. Here we go. One of the most indispensable materials you can use when crafting, for me anyway, is cereal box card. Now every time we use some cereal in the house, I cut the box up and make sure I store it in a flat place that's dry so it stays flat. So I have copious amounts of cereal box card, not only for me but also for my daughter when she wants to craft. So I cut the cereal box card, in this case shreddies, because you lock hunger up till lunch, and I measure them on the sides so it's flush all the way around, and I just glue it down. I glue it down the cardboard side so that we don't get to see the shreddies logo if you look through the windows. I haven't painted them black here because I was kind of hoping that the light would shine from the lighter part of the card. I should have really painted it silver if I wanted it to glow, but that's a lesson for another time. Now this glue gun was bought for me for my birthday this year, and one of the best presents my wife's ever got me, because it's fantastic. It's portable, you just recharge it and it is great. I don't have to worry about the wire. I can charge it up overnight and it cuts off automatically from the charge point. Yeah, it's wonderful. I really like it. Again, I don't get paid to say this, I'm just telling you the products I use. There we go. Now I do go through here shortly. You may see some markings on the card when I start putting the shingles on. I measure up from the edge of the shingle, I measure up 5mm, and then I go up 5mm every other, so then I go up 5mm for every other strip as well. So they've got a bit of a back on them, these shingles, which is what I like. It gives you a nice overhang on the edges. So if you put 5mm on the bottom of the card there, and then put your shingle on, and then do another 5mm up, I put the shingles on there as well. So yeah, it gives it quite nice, and it looks quite effective, I think you'll find. Now, unlike the thicker shingles that Rich has on their website, these are, I think, a 0.75mm, I'm not sure. But they come off the strip without any scissors or knife or anything, and they just pop straight off, which is quite nice. And they can be cut with your craft knife or just a pair of scissors, which I think is what I'm using here. Just have to get that out of the drawer. There we go. I do let them overhang ever so slightly on some of these so that I can make sure they line up and then go back and cut them with scissors afterwards. It's another good thing about them being card. Right, here we go. A bit of a time lapse. So as you can see, the markings on the card, they're all 5mm apart. I made sure I've made them level, and I put the shingles on and I just run a bead of super glue down the top, and because they're card, it soaks in really nicely and it keeps it attached to the cereal packet. I step them off. Excuse me. And as you can see, you can just move the shingles around with a pair of tweezers and they look all random and higgledy-piggledy. But this looks like it could be the finished project. I've also added some balsa wood end plates to the roof, and a beam as well at the top. Again, incredibly simple to do. I've just put them down so they're flush with the shingles, and gone from there. This is a mix of dental plaster, sand, and PV and wood glue. It's a 1-to-1 mixed dental plaster and sand, and then I mix enough PVA wood glue in to make it like a slurry. This thing goes off like a rocket. It's super quick, so you've got to be really, really quick with getting that slapped down. It can turn into a putty after a while. It's quite difficult to move around, but yeah, it's good stuff. Discovered it complete by accident. You will have also seen me put some sand down there. Again, put it on with alcohol and the thin down PVA. Now I also painted the whole thing with black Mod Podge, and here you can see me painting the roof. The roof colours are dark reaper to start, then it's Stegodon Scale Green dry brush, and then the Fang dry brush, and a really, really light rust grey right at the end. Here we are. This is exactly the same paint job as the columns from the other video, which I'll link in the below. And this is taupe again, or taupe, dark taupe from Paveo. Paint that all over. And once we've got that all painted over, I think I do 2 coats of this just to get a nice even coat on it. Then I'll go in with an overbrush of light taupe. Very original colours these. Taupe or taupe, whatever one you want to call it. There we go, there's an overbrushing for you. I try and be careful not to get it on the shingles, but it's not too much of an issue. I'll just go back and repaint them if needed. Here we are. I'm just bringing in another piece of the, I've got a piece of the column scenery here so I can just make sure it all ties in nicely. So I'm giving it a dry brush of Screaming Skull. And now I'm base coating the groundwork in Mournfang Brown. And here we are. This is just the basic weathering method that I always use. It's the Aggro First Shade with Lamian Medium 1:1, put into the recesses and then stippled out with my dry brushes. I've got a bit extra on this one because it's supposed to be like an ancient mausoleum / crypt. Not quite sure what you call it. It could be either. Just to make it more dark and dank. It looks like it's very well kept, but it hasn't been cleaned or anything like that. So the door was very simple again. It's nice and easily painted. It was Mournfang. All the wood was Mournfang. Mournfang Brown, and then I used Steel Legion Drab to dry brush it liberally, and then I used Carrick Stone again to dry brush it, and then after I finished that I used Gorgrunter Fur contrast paint as a glaze over it, and it gives it a really rich, deep, dark look. And for the brass, I've done the windows in brass as well. I decided to do those in brass, and the strips going across the wood. I used Vallejo Model Air Brassy Brass, or Bright Brass rather. That's 3 or 4 coats on this one because it's quite thin. And I used Right Glen Flesh Shade all over, and then Necalic Oxide, thinned down 1:1 with water, and put that on liberally. I did do an over brush afterwards with a bit of the brass again on the door, just to get some of the rivets shown up. I've also gone back to the shingles and did a full-on coat of Agrex Earth Shade on it, and then gave it a liberal dry brushing with Rust Grey. There we go. Right, so I've gone back to it, and you add all those bits in, and I've also gone to town with the washes I handmade myself. So my ink and artistic medium washes. Again, I've copied Luke APS's recipe for these. Geek Gaming Scenics. He made that video a while ago. But I've applied the brown all over the base and sparingly onto the model itself. And I've used the green into the recesses and near the grass, etc. as well. And it gives it a rather wonderful look. And here we are, the model in all its glory. I've added static grass, 12mm static grass, and flowers and the moss from Gamer's Grass again to tie it in with the same as the columns. Really hope you like it, guys. Please like and subscribe if you can. Hopefully I'll be bringing you another one very soon. Cheers.